It's time now to look at the women's draw. We obviously have Iga Swiatek as a three-time defending champion. Uh, so obviously the one to beat in theory, but she hasn't made a final since this time last year. She's been very much not at the races. We'll get onto her bits later because she's not the top seed. She's dropped right down, and we do have Sabalenka as the world number one, eyeing at the top of the draw. She'll be looking for her first French Open, but she may have a few tricky contenders to get past first. Well, early on, she could well play a Danielle Collins. Never an easy opponent. She's got the likes of Clara Tauson, Schneider in her section, Qinwen Zheng, who beat her very recently, Peyton Stearns, who's had a great run of form of late, Amanda Anisimova, former semi-finalist here. So quite a few tricky contenders perhaps in her section. But do you think Sabalenka will be doing enough to make it through her quarter?
Wow.
Joel?
I think it is a tough quarter, and it's interesting that Sabalenka and Zheng are there because Zheng defeated, Sabalenka in Madrid. So I'd be very curious to see if that matchup does happen. I mean, Zheng's got Pavlyuchenkova first round, and she's no slouch on a clay court, so that could be quite interesting. But yeah, I still expect Sabalenka to come through this. I would love to see Sabalenka Collins. I think that would happen in round 3, just to see where we're at with Sabalenka. I think that could be a really wild ride if that does happen. But you still got to think, even with that blip against Zheng in Rome, that she's still for me kind of quite the clear favourite to pick up a maiden French Open title.
You don't think Zheng could win against her again? I mean, she is the Olympic champion. The last time she played on these courts, she won. Chris, any thoughts on Zheng?
Well,
as a
it was the
contender?
beginning. Well, not say the beginning of the end. That sounds far too dramatic for Iga, but that was a very pivotal moment where she realised she could lose at Roland-Garros. So I think for Zheng, it was also very big to show that she can win on these courts too against the player who was three-time defending champion. So I think that's particularly kind of a strong piece of something you can really draw on in those moments. I think that memory, I think people will forget that happened in Paris. I'm not saying that the Olympics was forgettable, but that was these same courts. So I can see her going deep here. Sabalenka obviously was injured in that quarterfinal last year that led to Mira Andreeva making her first semi-final. So this is a physically fit Sabalenka. And if she's playing her best tennis, I do think she's a better tennis player than Qinwen Zheng is. So on her day, you'd be hard pushed to not pick Sabalenka.
Yes, and I think I've got my eye on Alexandra Ayala, who we saw do quite well earlier in the year. She's, obviously not seeded, but she could play Zheng in the second round if she gets through her first round.
Fun.
And curious to see how she's going to do in her first slam since kind of coming through to the attention of the tennis world. And Schneider as well, player we've been maybe making some strong predictions for.
She hasn't quite done it yet, has she? She's had a few good results. I was going to say, I was having a little look on the old Philip Chatrier today, and Kvitova and Ostapenko were playing a practice set. And let's just say the points were very short. So I'm not sure Kvitova is going to be making a deep run here, but maybe she's playing it more to get some form ahead of Wimbledon.
Yeah, which would be more her bread and butter as a two-time champion. Let's have a look at the second quarter then. Jasmine Paolini is technically the top seed in this section as the fourth seed, but this is where Iga Swiatek does find herself as the fifth seed. So make of that what you will. They could be on to meet in the quarterfinal. But we do have Yelena Ostapenko lurking in Swiatek's section. that could not bode well.
I bet
for
Swiatek is thrilled about that.
I bet she's delighted. And we've got Alina Svitolina as well, Chris. I know you're a big fan of hers as a 13th seed. Will she be able to go deep? Where are your thoughts initially from this quarter?
Swiatek is going out to Raducanu in round 2.
That could happen. Yeah, Emma Raducanu playing Xinju Wang first round. Hopefully we'll get through that.
That could be very
fun,
exciting.
Wouldn't it?
I'd be here for that. I'd love to see that. I was going to say, your favourite, Kim, has a repeat of a match that you called upset on in Australia. Sharamkova versus Swiatek.
Yes, I know. Maybe this time Shampakova will.
Is that
will
your bold
actually...
prediction? You're going to go even
It's
bolder after the 11-1 defeat
it's not, but I'm glad Sharamkova will get center stage. I think
to
that's
get a good call, won't she?
deserved.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think Rybakina is also quite interesting. That tie with Bencic, that is going to be
that is
interesting.
tasty.
Yes, that's a great first round. I think Bencic might get that one personally.
I'd say Bencic arguably goes in a little bit more as a
Rybakina's
favourite
made it
there,
to the
I think.
semi-finals, though she's made it to the semi-finals in Strasbourg, but hard to back it up the week of the Slam. And we've got to point out that Garcia is in the draw. We were worried she wasn't going to be there. Andy Murray's not in her box yet, but maybe we can slide into both their DMs, make that happen.
Yes, and Bernarda Pera though, that's quite a tricky first round for
Is it
Garcia.
though?
But
Is it?
I think she'll
Wouldn't
have zero
anything be tricky
expectations
at the moment? Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
zero
still
expectations.
haven't really spoken about Jasmine Paolini as well.
No.
Last year's
Goodness.
runner-up.
Rome champion.
Rome champion. I know. She could get to the final again and we go under the radar, I reckon, for a lot of people. But do you see her backing that up? I mean,
I think given that she won the singles and doubles in Rome, she's perhaps peaking just at the right time. So yes, I think she could win the whole thing. Quite honestly,
Ooh.
she's capable, and I mean I'd love to see that, but I don't know. I still think maybe Sabalenka, if they met in say the semi-finals, would have the edge. But if Paolini's in that groove, she might be peaking just at the right time, like she did this time last year.
I always just wonder with Paolini, like, does she just play too much tennis? Like, will it all ever kind of catch up with her? It doesn't ever feel like it affects her game.
You mean covering for Sara Irani on the doubles court?
Yes,
having to play,
exactly.
Mixed doubles with her, basically.
Yeah.
Well, she's got a lot of energy. I think she's always seemed, you would describe her as a low energy player. So I think it's a bit like Coco Gauff. Sometimes her best results happen when she's also in the doubles. And she's got a good draw here. I think if she's playing really well, I mean, people say that if you take away her serve isn't the biggest weapon, they say off the ground, if she's ranked number 4, she's probably in the top 2 off the ground. I think that's something that you don't really think about, that the weapon makes such a big difference for the top players. So if the points get longer, she's got a really good shot of getting the point won.
Well, let's now have a look at the third quarter, because we do have Jessica Pegula as the third seed here.
That is a good draw, isn't it? If you saw that round one.
Yes. But we perhaps more interestingly, Mira Andreeva in this section, last year's semi-finalist, she's now here as the 6th seed. Will that pressure and that expectation perhaps get to her? She's not had the greatest clay season so far, and neither has JPEG really. She won Charleston, but she's not done much since then. So she'll be looking to sort of shift things around a bit in Roland-Garros, and she's got Anka Todoni, a Romanian player, in the first round. So you have to think she'd come through her and get a few wins under her belt. I mean, JPEG normally very consistent in slams as well. But perhaps this section is the most open in the women's draw. I was struggling to think who's confidently going to come through, and it's fair to say I don't have much confidence in anyone in this section.
A lot of people who have been a bit injured or out of form. I think we've got some dangerous floaters in Ons Jabeur and Vondrousova. They could set up a rematch of that Wimbledon final in the second round. You also have players like an unseeded Maria Sakkari, unseeded Naomi Osaka, who's playing first round against Paula Badosa. I mean, that is pretty blockbuster. And you have to think that given some of the injuries that Badosa's had, if Naomi Osaka can come through that, the draw does open up quite a lot for her.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kazatkina's in there. She's not been having very good results of late. And I mean, we've got Mukova as a former finalist in there, but has been struggling with some health stuff lately. It really depends. If people can just, shift up a gear ever so slightly, they could get a real opportunity here. We've even got Elise Mertens, formerly very, very consistent player at slams. Could be time for her to sort of make it through to the second week again. It's really anyone's for the taking, I almost feel, in this section. So we'll be looking to see who we think is going to be taking it in just a moment. But that Osaka Badosa match, I think, will be quite fun in the first round.
Who will be more annoyed about that first round draw, Osaka or Badosa?
Probably
Badosa.
Badosa as the 10th seed. You probably don't want Osaka in your first round, especially as Osaka. We saw her. Well, you were there, Chris. Almost beat Swiatek last year.
What a match.
Second round.
She's got unfinished business here, so I think she'll be very motivated for that one.
Yeah. And let's look at finally at the fourth quarter because we've got Coco Gauff as the second seed at the bottom of the draw. Madison Keys, the Australian Open champion, 7th seed here. Emma Navarro is the 9th seed. And well, we've got Krejcikova, former champion. She's back in action. Sophia Kenin, she's seeded again, 31st seed, former finalist. That's fantastic. That does show that she's steadily been working her way kind of back up to some sort of form. Coco Gauff, though, really here as a former finalist, world number 2, second seed, had some decent wins in the clay season, beating Swiatek comfortably, for example. She won the doubles here last year. Can she get the singles? Do you think she's got what it takes this year? Joel, you're looking doubtful. You're frowning.
Yeah, I think she can make a deep run again. I think the draw that she's been given is a good platform for her to potentially win, the French Open singles title. I don't see there being too many issues earlier on. Barbora Krejcikova's an interesting one to me, because of how she's played and how we know that she can play, and we've not really seen that much kind of recently. But beyond that, maybe Alexandrova as well. It feels like there's a nice, as I say, platform here for Coco Gauff to build on, with some more interesting kind of unknown players, I think, in the above, like Madison Keys, Australian Open champion. What is?
No one is talking about.
No one
her.
knows.
No one. Yeah.
Katie Boulter.
Gone.
Well, she's Katie Boulter. We talked about this. I think there's a chance she might get her first win at Roland-Garros. That's probably what she's aiming for. I'm not saying that she thinks she can take the whole thing, but why not win that match and give Madison Keys a good go? I think that would be a match where if you're going to play one of the top 8 seeds, it's a pretty good seed to draw. So that could be a chance for her to do something a bit special where there's no expectation for her really on clay. And then you look at some of the other players, and again, it's players who haven't necessarily had that consistent form, or maybe kind of a bit lower down the seedings. I think Callum Sky is playing quite well, but Sonia Cartel is down there as well. She has a good draw, plays Erika Andreeva in the first round, and that could be an interesting one to see if she can push through to maybe face Coco Gauff like she did at Wimbledon, maybe get some revenge. But I'm not the most excited by this section, I have to say.
I was wondering maybe Haddad Maia, Navarro. They played today in Strasbourg, I think, with Haddad Maia winning that. But yeah, they playing too much the week before. I don't know. I feel like that the whole of the second half of the draw really, it's kind of anyone's for the taking a little bit. But we've seen this before,
Are we
haven't
saying
we?
anyone's? Could it be? Let's look for a good name. Could Azarenka make it through?
Well, she is a Grand Slam champion.
She is.
So she knows what it takes. Uchiyima, I mean, she had a few good wins earlier in the season, but not done much since. It's an interesting one. And we have seen with the women's draw, especially at Roland-Garros, you do get some surprise semi-finalists, finalists. So perhaps that one will come from the bottom half. Let's now make our quarter-by-quarter predictions. Chris, I'm going to come to you first this time. So let's start with quarter 1, which is Sabalenka's quarter.
Surely we've all gone for Sabalenka, Zheng.
I've gone for Sabalenka Zheng. Joel,
I have not gone for Sabalenka Zheng. I've gone Sabalenka Peyton Stearns.
Okay.
That's not terrible.
Well, Rome semi-finals.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Going to continue on the form book from Rome.
And Chris, quarter 2.
I need to check if this is possible, because based on what I've written, I'm looking at what you guys have written, and Svitolina Rybakina is what I've gone for. But maybe I'll have to check the draw. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that.
Yeah, I think that can
I think
happen.
that can statistically
It just doesn't
work.
look right, does it?
Will it
No.
happen? Will it happen? I don't think so.
What do you think?
Well, I've gone for Paulini Swiatek for this section.
See, that does sound right.
That does sound right. That sounds a lot better than what I've put, which feels very unlikely. Svitolina Ostapenko.
See that happening, Joe. I don't think that's unlikely. I mean, Ostapenko's won the title before.
Yeah, she has.
Svitolina's been to countless quarterfinals. I think that's fair. Chris, quarter 3?
I have gone for Andreeva Mertens, which I'm surprised by myself again.
Well, I've also gone for the same.
Have
So
you?
snap. Yeah, I think Mertens is going to go second week again in a slam. She's, consistent. Joel?
This was really hard to pick. I've gone Andreeva Mukova, but
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
really confident
Yeah.
about that. Never really know with Mukova, I don't think. She's got so much talent, but will her body be able to keep up with the rigors of clay court tennis?
Yeah. And Chris, quarter four.
So this is where I did go for Haddad Meyer based on the result today and her form picking up, and I went for Goff.
Nice. Okay. I went for Navarro against Goff. I know she lost to Haddad Meyer today, but I feel like that extra bit of time, off before Roland-Garros might help. So yeah, Navarro Goff for me. Joel?
I've gone Kenin Goff.
So we're all going Goff. It's just whoever's going to play her.
But
Well, one of us has got to get that right, surely.
Surely. And right, semi-final lineup now. So Chris, your two semis, please.
Sabalenka, Rybakina, and Andreeva Goff.
Okay, Rybakina in the semi. Interesting. I've gone for Sabalenka, Paulini, Andreeva, Goff.
Oh, I like that.
And
I think that's a good final four.
Oh, thank you. What about yourself?
I've gone Sabalenka, Svitolina, Andreeva, Goff.
So we've actually got three all the same. It's just the sort
We're
of
never this aligned.
Svitolina / Paulini /
We all got a different winner, though. That's
that
what we
we're
need
not
to know.
going for. So who is in your final and who's winning, Chris?
I've gone for Goff Sabalenka, and Sabalenka is winning. So true to form.
I've gone for the same final, but I've gone for Coco Gauff winning.
I'd quite like that. Yeah.
So, Joel?
I've gone Sabalenka, Andreeva with Sabalenka winning.
So we've gone two Sabalenkas and a Gauff. So you two are both very
on the top seed. I know. I've gone with the top seed.
For the other person.
But did Joel go for no? Joel went for Alcaraz.
Yeah, you've both gone for Alcaraz and Sabalenka.
So we've all gone one or
Gauff.
two for everything, basically. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I think it's going to be open, but the winner's going to be
the door will be closed.
Yeah.
The window is open.
There's
but
a
the door is
ceiling
shut.
to the openness. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, now time for the bold predictions. So this can be anything. Chris, what have you got?
I've gone for Marta Kostyuk is going to take out Iga in round 3.
Oh, love that.
Oh,
and
okay.
I've just added this based on the conversation we've been having. Katie Boulter is going to beat Madison Keys in round 2 in 3 sets.
Nice.
And I'll give you the court. It's going to be on Susan Longlong.
Oh, okay. That would be given long. Yeah, no, very specific. Thank you, Chris.
The more specific, the more impressive it could be.
Well, I've gone also British hopeful Sonay Cartel. I've got her to make the 3rd round.
It's not that bold, is it?
Well, I don't know.
Give us something bolder, Kim. Come on.
Belinda Bencic will beat Rebecca in the 1st round, so she's not making your semi-final, Chris.
That's not great for me.
Alex Ayala will come very close to beating Zheng in the 2nd round. She'll maybe get to like 2 points away and then lose, maybe.
Joel? I like that one.
What about yours?
I'm going to have to go on the Kenin hype train again. I think Kenin's going to go on an unexpected run to the quarterfinals. And then I put a joking one in here. I've said Marketa Vondrousova is going to complete a full match and is not going to withdraw or retire.
I almost put her down for the final, so I'm kind of glad that we're on the same sort of vibe.
Well, let's see whether any of these come true. Surely some of them have got to. And we'll be posting our round by round, quarter by quarter predictions on social media. So if you forget what we've said, have a look out. They'll be up shortly.
And let us know your bold predictions as well.
Yeah, as
the
Roland
bolder the better. Yeah, there's no right or wrong answers, just very wrong answers here.
Make us feel better about ours and see if one of us can avoid getting the wooden spoon at some point.